All right, let's just be blunt about it. It's pretty bad.
Yep.
Yeah.
We don't like it.
And it's kind of important for you to know why.
Let's laugh at it together. Hi everybody, welcome to GameGorgon. My name is Krug.
I'm Indigo.
Today we're here to talk to you about this f***ing class.
We're going to be going over D&D 5e's Unearthed Arcana, the Artificer.
Yeah.
Artificer? Or whatever.
Artificer Certificate Officer.
Yes.
Artificer.
Now this is not a subclass, this is a base class that they're adding, which will be one of the first if they decide to bring this into the game.
Right.
Let's go into it. We literally sat down and we were doing notes and we spent about a half an hour just bitching about how bad this class is.
Yep.
Just like overview. That wasn't even going in depth of the class. And so we're going to be splitting this up into a couple of episodes. This one, which is the overall class, and then we're going to be going over the subclasses in different episodes. If we're not super lazy, we are going to kind of give you like an idea of what we think would be a better version of this class or a better way to have built it.
Spoiler alert, it's 3 classes.
Yeah.
Let's start plain and simple with health. You get 1d8 plus con for your health, which is reasonable. It's in between a wizard and a ranger. Ranger's d10, wizard's d6. Feels like something that's in between those two, and so it's probably a reasonable amount of health.
Eventually you get spell casting, but it's a delayed spell casting.
It's delayed spell casting, and it's not great. You're proficient in light and medium armor and simple weapons, which this isn't a class about using weapons unless you pick one of the subclasses, but we'll get to that when we get to that.
Yeah, I don't think these are like crazy. I mean, this doesn't pull astray from the whole entire idea of what this class is.
Nor is it wildly over or underpowered. It's just some starting stuff, so that's cool.
Whatever.
You're also proficient with thieves' tools as well as 2 other sets of tools of your choice. I think that's weird. I don't think this is like the worst thing that we're complaining about by a mile. This is a nitpicky thing. I'll fully admit that, but
is it though? Is it nitpicky? Going with the class fantasy of what this class is doesn't make sense to have proficiency in thieves' tools.
Not as much sense as artisan's tools or tinker's tools, quote unquote, which are used to build things. If you look in the player's handbook, there's a gnome feature that you get that allows you to use artisan's tools or tinker's tools to make a clockwork mechanism. It's just like a small thing that can like make a sound and like waddle across the ground. It has no combat value, has no utility. It might have a little bit of utility if your GM's super nice.
Why thievery tools? Why does lock picking, why is that the mechanic?
If I saw some sort of feature that said that you could make locks, I'd be like, maybe, that makes sense. But still, the artisan's tools, because you as a character based around crafting magic weapons, and this is before you pick your specializations. Like all of your features are around magic items, and magic items.
Yeah.
Thieves' tools, as opposed to artisan's tools, doesn't really make sense.
This is just one of the things, and one of the least offensive things about this class, and we hate it already. So, buckle up.
For skills, you get to choose 3 from Arcana, Deception, Investigation, Medicine, Nature, Religion, and Sleight of Hand.
At first level, you're going to get your first class ability, which is Magical Item Analysis. You understand magical items and you can cast Identify. Makes sense to me. It goes with the type of class. It goes with the fantasy of the class.
Yep. It's interesting because it comes before you as a character get spellcasting. Because you get spellcasting at level 3. I don't know if it's trying to make it seem like you as a character are not using spellcasting to like obtain the effects of these spells, because it says you don't need material components to use Identify. I don't know if that's the motive behind that or not. That's kind of how I'm gonna think about it. Like that's my headcanon.
Detect magic could also be in a sense if you're not using magic as a whole. You can just, it's like, I notice runes. I notice that there's a natural glow to it.
If it's not something that's just ambient, if there's literally a physical representation of it. That makes sense. At level 2, you get tool expertise, where you can double your proficiency with the tools that you gained from this class.
It fits with this class, and so it's an acceptable choice that was made.
Yep.
Also, at second level, you're going to get Wondrous Invention, which is which is
a deep sigh.
You've spent your time adventuring, also working and creating and like building wondrous magical items. And so at second level, 5th, 10th, 15th, and 20th level, you're also going to get a wondrous item.
Yep, there's literally a written list that you have to choose from.
Yeah,
which is on the screen at some point. It either was, or it is currently, or it will be shortly.
I think the items that are in there are a good collection of items.
Yeah.
I don't think that they're overpowered or underpowered. I think that they're...
None of them are like ancient, legendary, like wildly unique, like campaign specific.
But having a bag of holding at second level is pretty strong.
Yeah, absolutely.
And I think that that's really awesome, and I like that aspect of it. And again, it fits with the fantasy.
It does.
So it's acceptable, but also boring.
It is a little bit boring, but I do think that they should be commended for writing a list of items that doesn't force you into a specific play style.
Yes.
If any character in your party had them, they'd be useful to have.
Yeah. And I think that there are some fun items in there. The issue I have with this one is the fact that it doesn't have any limitations in the sense that once you create this item, you can't then turn around and sell it.
Right, and that leads to a different world of problems because it opens up the door for like, and again, this is gonna be something that DMs could easily railroad away from if they want to. They could say, nobody has the money, nobody has the desire.
Like, putting the DM in that position is so bullshit.
I super agree with you. I'm not saying that this is like 100% excusing the issue that you're pointing out. I'm just saying it's possible. You open up the possibility for your whole party to be geared out with mundane gear, but like the best mundane gear. Like your heavy armor users are going to have full plate.
Yeah.
You know, it's not going to be an issue for them if they can sell these magic items.
I think if there was some sort of limitation to the fact that when you create this magical item, you've basically held it together with shoestrings and bubblegum.
Yeah.
And so it's like you're the only one that knows how to really use this item.
Yeah.
So that if you were to give someone else the item, they can't.
It would be meaningless to them.
Yeah.
I think that also fits well with the fantasy. Like maybe you're not the most by the book builder ever, and it's literally held together with shoestrings and bubblegum. Or you're so good at it, and you've worked it in such a way that it's too complicated for other people to use, or
both
there are
options.
fail safes or something like that. Like literally just make it your character's a result of your character's like action. Now we're on to level 3 where you get spell casting. Barely,
and it's so far pushed back. The only other classes that have this are
Fighter.
The fighter as a subclass.
Yeah, you have to make a choice to go into this. This is baseline. You get casting at level 3.
And the paladin,
who's using class features that are magical.
Yeah.
So you're not spontaneously getting magic.
I mean, the idea is that, you know, identify/detect magic is you also being magical.
Okay. All right.
I'm
sure. Fine.
Look, I'm not trying to defend this.
Right.
I'm just saying, like, it does exist, but it's for extremely martial classes. The paladin, full plate, wrecking bitches, right? Fighter has action surge, able to heal themselves.
Could be full plate wrecking bitches.
Also could be full plate wrecking bitches. Thus far,
doesn't seem like a martial character.
it's such a limited spell list.
Yeah.
Like, what is it? First level, you get 9 spells to choose from.
Yep.
Second level, you get 16. Third level, you get 9. And fourth level, you get 10.
Your spell slots per level are also pretty ridiculously restrictive. Especially restrictive for the spell list in question, because the spell list in question is entirely utility based. The number of times you could do that very limited set of actions is small.
You're not giving them cantrips.
Yep.
But
that's the other problem not giving them cantrip. If you're gonna give something like this cantrip or spell casting, it should probably also have cantrips.
Not really happy with the spell choices.
No.
Not really happy with the amount or how late in the.
If they wanted to give it utility, I think they should have given it more class features and not spell casting. That would have allowed them to be a lot more flexible with the first of all the flavor of the stuff that you're doing, and like had it be more of a class that doesn't use magic in a traditional sense. They only use magic in the sense of imbuing items with magic. It also would have given them a way to be more creative. You don't have to stick to the spells that are in the book already. And I think that's always more interesting when you're releasing new content, is to kind of like expand on the things that you've already done.
Yeah, I
makes
agree.
it a much more compelling thing.
100% agree. At 4th level, you're going to get Infuse Magic, which basically allows you to take the spells in which you know and infuse them into items.
I thought it was going to be like a tea infuser. Like you get an item and you put it into warm water and then it becomes tea. No, that's not it.
This is also very, very limited because of how long it takes you, because you're casting them as a ritual, I believe?
Yes, so it's 10 minutes longer than the actual cast time of the spell in question. So the spell that you infuse into the item always targets the creature who activates the item. Once a creature activates the item, the spell's cast using your spellcasting modifier. So it's as though you had cast the spell on the person using the item. There are some like specific situational caveats. If the spell's AoE, the AoE is centered on the person activating the item. They can't dictate where it goes. It's always on the person. If the spell requires multiple targets, then the person who's activating the item chooses all of the additional targets. The way that it's written in the, not the book, the way that it's written in the PDF heavily implies that one target is always the person who is activating the item.
Yes.
Regardless of what the spell is. That having been said, your list of spells is so limited, you're not using this to do anything.
It's not Fireball.
Yeah, it's not.
It's like, okay, here's an item, use this just in case. Like, you know what I mean?
Like, it's one of your spells that you can learn is Stoneskin.
Yeah.
So if a fighter has a sword that's infused with Stoneskin, they can, at their discretion, activate it to get a buff.
Here's the other thing is that that ability only works for 8 hours. So you have to infuse the item within 8 hours of your combat, which I'm surprised isn't just 24 hours.
Yeah.
Why 8 hours? It's such a weird, it's like, okay, 8-hour work day. Like,
spells clock in at 9 and they clock out at 5 and they're good. You know?
I didn't understand that limitation.
Neither did I. The other thing is that you have such a finite number of spell slots at every level compared to every other class, but you can't use all of them.
You can only infuse a number of items equal to your intelligence modifier per day. So theoretically, one per team member?
Yeah, which is like, it's cool, but I think it would be a much more entertaining thing if you could just let it go and just like unrestrict that. I don't know, I haven't tested the class. I don't know if it feels too strong the way it is now. Well, being able to pre-plan that stuff.
I can't remember, does it take up a spell slot?
It does.
Okay, so
this, when you use this, the spell slot is consumed immediately.
I can get giving it a specific limitation, and I'm even okay with limiting it to its intelligence modifier.
Yeah.
But just increase that length of time.
I don't think I'm okay with both at the same time.
Yeah.
I think I'd be okay with a numerical limit with indefinite duration, or at least a longer duration, or a defined duration that's fairly short. Like, I think 8 hours would be perfectly okay if I could have as many of them out as I want.
Sure.
I'd even be okay with a shorter duration. I'd be okay with 4 hours.
Sure.
Half a day. Next is Superior Attunement, which is interesting.
Interesting? Is that the word you would use?
No. At level 5, you're going to gain the ability to attune an additional magic item.
You're able to attune to 4 items.
4 items total. As far as I know, and I could be wrong, as far as I know, it's the only way in D&D to attune more than 3 items.
As far as I'm aware as well.
Magic items are really strong. I think the whole game, the magic items are balanced around 3. This is not following that expectation, right?
No.
That the designers had when they were designing the magic items in question. And so it feels like it's going to be very easy to exploit.
Oh, for sure.
And I would say I wouldn't be that worried about it if it was 4. But then at level 15, you can attune another magic item.
Up to 5 now.
That's almost double what every other character in the game can attune. This takes it to very high impact. And this is, again, before we even look at the subclasses, which are also interesting in their own rights. But then, at level 20, you get to attune 6 magic items, which is double what every other character can attune in the game. I cannot imagine that being balanced, especially because there are no restrictions.
6 is absolutely bonkers.
Yeah.
And I agree. If there was some limitations to like, oh, the 3 additional items can only come from the items in which you make.
It feels like the reason that this was added specifically was to make it so that you can always use the items that you crafted, right? But that's not a restriction of the ability. You can just get 6 magic items. And if you have a 4-person party and all 4 of them have their 3 attuned magic items, what is to stop that party from just piling all those things onto you and making this overpowered juggernaut of death? And then just be like, go, and then it'll walk in behind you. It's unparalleled in the potential for being broken. From now on, if they release this way, they have to keep that in mind whenever they design a magic item. Instead of like, oh yeah, well, people can only attune 3, so this interaction isn't gonna happen, except for this class.
Even though it's kind of along the fantasy of it, like, well, I am a magic, like, there's no explanation of why your character is able to attune to more things. Instead of attuning to an item taking X amount of time, you can swap attuned items quicker.
That's really cool.
You know what I mean? Like, I think that would be interesting.
That's something he didn't even say when we were talking about it between ourselves. But it's like, really cool.
But like, yeah, being able to like, say you're only allowed to wear 3 attuned items, but you know.
You can swap them out in action.
Yeah, like in action, yeah, exactly. So it's like, oh crap, I need a belt of con.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah, or like one action to unequip, one action to equip, or something like that. Maybe you always keep one slot open so that you can always add the last thing that you're missing in one action. As you go into encounters, you have like the versatility slot. It opens up so many different like options for customizing the way you interact with your character.
No, this is
a design issue. It's a design issue and it's boring.
Yeah. Well, and then okay, let's go to the next thing, which is the mechanical servant, which you get at 6th level.
Yeah, what the f is this?
At 6th level, you get to create a mechanical creature of a challenge rating 6 CR. Challenge
2?
Huh?
2?
No, 1. Sorry, what did I say? At level 6.
It's challenge rating 6 or challenge rating
2. Sorry.
2. You said challenge rating 6. I was like, what the f?
At level 6, you can create a challenge rating 2 creature that's large.
A large beast specifically.
Yeah, it can take the shape of whatever, but it has to use a CR2 like template.
Good on you for saying it can be whatever shape you want it to be.
Yeah.
That's really good.
As long as
it still uses the stats of a CR2 large beast and it's reasonable.
Yeah, like you can't have a creature with like slashing that doesn't have claws.
Yeah,
you know what I mean?
That's exactly how you do pets correctly.
But it's such a out of left field thing. Why is this a thing?
It even says in the ability like, oh, you get this now, and you've been working on it for a long time. And you're just like, sure, yeah.
Yeah.
While I've been traveling, I've been working on this machine.
Yeah.
And I've been carrying it with me somehow.
If you lose it, it costs 1,000 GP to replace.
Here's the thing, can I not take this level 6 feature and get 1,000 GP instead?
I mean, so you can have one more attuned item. It doesn't make sense. Like, I think it goes with the fantasy, but I think if it was a part of earlier on, like, I mean, there's so many ways that they could have made this make sense versus just like 6th level, you get a little dude that's gonna follow you around. And by little, I mean a large creature.
Revivify works on it.
Yeah.
But it's a construct. No matter what creature you pick, the creature that you end up creating is the construct type. So there are some like modifications. There are some other ones.
Give them mending as a class ability.
Oh yeah, there's a spell that specifically fixes stuff, and you gave them free spells on an earlier level. Why not at level 6 give them that same kind of free ability in the form of mending that you can cast? Say that you can cast mending once per day, and that if you cast mending on this thing, it is healed an amount.
Yeah.
Or it is brought back to 1 HP if it's unconscious.
Yeah. Now, we had kind of hinted at what you get at 20th level, the fact that you are going to now be able to attune to 6 items.
Yep, that's only half of it, baby.
But the 20th level thing is called the Soul of the Artificer. Not only do you get to attune to 6 items, but you get to add a +1 bonus to all of your saving throws for each magical item you're attuned to.
You know what that number's gonna be?
6.
It's gonna be 6.
So you're gonna have an automatic +6 to all of your saves at level 20.
Literally go to a shop in town and say, hey, I need 3 magic items that require attunement, cheapest ones you got. And they say, what do you need them to do? And you say, you're missing the point. I need 3 magic items that I can attune to. Those are my only requirements. Go find me the cheapest ones. It's not that hard to make it strong.
Those are the features of the base Artificer.
We haven't even gotten into the specific subclass.
There are 2 subclasses.
Yep.
The Alchemist, which we feel is underpowered.
And incredibly boring.
Yeah. And the Gunsmith, which is extremely overpowered.
Yes.
And incredibly boring.
Yes.
Just looking at this class without any sub-features.
Yes.
This is already, just off of the one attunement aspect of this class, it's just stupid powerful and extremely boring.
I don't know how you manage both of those things, but
I get it. It's Unearthed Arcana. They're trying to get people to playtest stuff and try to do, but reading this, you know that this is not a good thing and does not like
it's the difference between me reading other Unearthed Arcanas and being like, oh, that's a little bit broken, or oh, that's weak. And even if I'm like, oh, that's very weak, oh, that's very broken, I at least as a player I'm like, I get the mindset here. Like, I know what they're going for, and I just don't think that they got there. This, I'm like, what were you going for? This mindset is wrong. There used to be a spell in World of Warcraft where a paladin could kill themselves, and by killing themselves, give another character total immunity to everything for a set amount of time. Blizzard made that spell, it got released, and then it was used to exploit everything in the game. And every time they released a new dungeon or a new raid or a new whatever, they had to keep in mind that that spell existed. That is this, as written. This is going to be something that every D&D everything will have to keep in mind. Every puzzle, everything that exists has to keep this one class in mind.
Other Unearthed Arcanas, there has been classes that I feel are very strong, but fit a very niche fantasy and fit a very fun, interactive way of playing. Like, the Spore Druid, way overpowered, but I could see the direction in which they were going and how they could be like, all right, we're gonna make these numbers a little strong and see where they land, and then we can reel it back. This is not that. This is literally just like scrap it. You start from start fresh.
This is taking the game and introducing an element to break it.
Why don't you head down in the comments and let us know what you think of the Artificer?
Yeah, if you think we're going overboard with this criticism, let us know, because I want to hear where you're coming from. I don't agree, but I want to hear it.
Whether you're pro or against the Artificer, I want to know if you agree with us and you think, yeah, this is hot garbage, like where are they even coming from?
Let's laugh about it together in the comments.
Let us know. But if you can see a direction in which they're coming from, let us know. I would love to see, like, or tell us, hey, there's other classes that do these things. Show us, let us know, because as far as I'm aware, this is it. And this is bad.
We promise we're not going to be mean to you.
No,
if you disagree with us in the comments. I promise.
No, and if I'm mean, Krug usually like just drags me back, and then he's the nice one. So, while you're down there letting us know about that, make sure to hit the like button if you like this video. Make sure to hit the subscribe button if you haven't already, and hit the bell icon so you can get notifications for other videos and other fun things that we do on this channel. And then head over to Twitter and talk to us. You
can't ask them to do a fourth thing. They can only attune 3 things that we ask them
to do. Nope, not if they're the Artificer. You can attune to talking to me on Twitter at IndigoQT.
Same joke, me on Twitter at CrudeQT, or both of us on Twitter or other places down at these locations here.
You can attune to all 4 of those, then to my Twitter and to your Twitter.
And there you go. Those are your 6 slots. And then you get +6 to all of your saving throws.
Bye.
We'll see you guys next time.
Good to cut.
Fuck this class.